Welcome to Crown Council Live. Stuart Anderson here with Steve Anderson, Spencer Chipping. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good day.
Man, we're always checking in with weather at the beginning here, Steve. Is that it's just the weirdest weather. Spence and I are digging out from 2 feet of snow. It's just crazy.
You guys decided to live in Utah.
I know.
Comes with the territory, man. I will not tell you guys about our 82 degrees.
Dude.
I won't tell you that. I mean,
okay.
Paradise in Texas, baby. Paradise in Texas.
I love that. All right, very good. Let's get that out of the way. It's fine. We have good feelings for each other. This is Crown Council Live. If you've never joined us before, this is our opportunity to connect with the Crown Council membership, hear from some of our members, our resource partners, and some of the great stories that are happening out there amongst the community of the Crown Council. So we've got a great show in store. One of our tops coaches is already in the waiting room. We're going to tune in with Tanya here in just a second.
Yes.
But before we do, we're going to do a little housekeeping and share I'm going to share my screen. Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay. So we are in mycrowncouncil.com hub, and we are going to look for the qualified program and spend just a few minutes talking about what is changing and what's going on with qualified. So here it is, qualified member program in everyone's profile who is a premium member. And as we click here, you'll see on the left, there are categories, different things that each Crown Council member is asked to do to be a qualified member. And we're going to highlight one of these each month in an attempt to make sure we're all on the same page, working through qualified membership as we go throughout the year so it doesn't stack up. So this is the best place for you and your team to start. And we're in February, right? Now's the time. Yeah, this is a great time to get started and an excellent time to start taking care of your requirements. So let's start here with learning. Steve, will you talk for just a minute about what is required for a Crown Council office when it comes to setting goals for learning?
Yeah, so the whole idea of this is to have a plan. So a continuing education plan. So a plan for mapping out what you're going to learn, why you're going to learn it, when you're going to learn it, all of those things. So it's having a plan instead of just kind of going to whatever, whatever sounds the best coming up, is to really look at clinical, management, marketing, all of those things. So you have a well-rounded CE plan for you as the dentist and for your entire team. So the requirement is map it all out, calendar it out. What have you done in the past year? What's your plan for the coming year, so that you have a plan for your education and development?
Very good. In order to help you do that, I'm going to stop. Well, there's two things that'll happen. I'll stop sharing my screen for just a sec so you can see this. We have printed what is called the 2023 Action Plan Workbook for the qualified program. This has already been mailed to every Crown Council member who has started the qualified member path. So you should have received this if you're already working on being a qualified member. But if you have not started, we are happy to send this off to you. A printed version. It's very easy to request. I will share my screen again. Here is the booklet where you can, a link where you can request the booklet, and we will send this off to you. Very easy to do as I hold up this QR code. Ta-da! Is that going to work? What do you think?
I don't know. Yeah. Let me try it.
Okay. This will take you to that same page to
works.
Okay, yeah, to request the booklet. So very good.
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
Okay. So we have enough to ship out to everybody, the booklet for qualified member, to keep you guys on track. And we're going to continue to remind everybody as we go through month to month to stay on track with qualifiid membership.
Yeah.
Very good.
The beautiful thing I love about Crown Council qualified membership is it's things that most people are already doing to run a quality practice. Mm-hmm. So these are all things you ought to be doing anyway. So just do it. It just gives recognition for the basic principles, the things that everybody should be doing to be on the right track, run a quality practice. So just do it.
Do it. And we want to recognize you at the annual event. That's one of the funnest parts of being together.
Absolutely.
To recognize our qualified practices. Very good. All right, let's welcome Tanya into the live stream. Tanya is with Dr. Tara Harden. Well, I better make sure that she is
Cincinnati. Hello, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
Let's see. You gotta. Oh, there they.
There they are.
Whoa. Team.
Team.
That's fun. Hey, so Tanya, we're obviously grateful to have you on. Thankful to have you as if you don't know Tanya, she is a total patient service coach, and she travels around the country week to week. Man, multiple practices probably each week to provide hands-on training, skills training, culture training for these teams. And Tanya, will you please introduce the team that you're with today?
I am so excited to get to introduce Dr. Tara Harden from Harden Advanced Dentistry here in suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio. Amazing cosmetic dental practice, just doing incredible things, serving their patients, serving their community, and absolutely beautifying every one of their patients and themselves, because this is a fantastic looking
model team.
Nice.
Her fellow Dr. Dalton Hampton is right here behind me, as well as just this incredible team of amazing humans.
Love it.
Very
Fantastic. It's great to have you with us, team.
Thank
Beaming
you.
in from Cincinnati. So, Dr. Harden, for those who may not know you, this is a world-class woman and team that runs an amazing practice. And if I could take your practice and go on a road show and use it as a model for what everybody ought to be doing, it's amazing. Right before you guys came on, we were talking about having a continuing education plan. And I know, Dr. Harden, you are one of the most voracious learners I have ever met. Just constantly looking for new ways, different ways, better ways to do anything. Any estimate of the number of CE hours you've done in the last, what should we say, 5 years, 4 years, month?
I guess I could go to my AGD. I became a fellow with the AGD and probably count them all up, but I love to learn. I think the key is continuing to grow yourself and your practice.
You love to learn and you love to implement too. That's why you are where you are. All right. So we have a couple quick questions that we're going to run through, and Dr. Harden, you're welcome to answer, or if you want to have your team answer as well. This is all in the spirit of copying genius. So have a few things. So Stu, go for it.
Let's do it. So when you look at the other practices in the Cincinnati area, what is it that separates you guys? What do you work on? What do patients see in your practice? What separates you from the other Cincinnati practices?
I think our focus, we know we're a cosmetic practice, and knowing what you are, instead of trying to be the jack of all trades and do some root canals here or there, or place an implant here or there, really becoming good and focus on one thing. There's a book called One Thing, and I really like that. It's narrowing your focus and get really good at it. Do your continuing education in that area. Reinvest in the technology in your practice. Invest in your team and your people of constant training. That's part of it.
Excellent.
Very cool. Nice.
Cool. All right. So we always talk about a culture of success because it starts from the inside, goes the inside out. So what are some of the favorite things that you all do as a team in your practice to build and maintain a culture of success?
Does anyone want to answer that? Julia?
No.
Maintaining success is continuing to work on things and retrain, and having Tanya here and Tanya coach us and listening to the things that we say or do that doesn't match what we say we're trying to do, and kind of an accountability partner of coaching us through, hey, did you realize you said this? And this is how we could have worded this differently. But just continuous training and learning is is the key to success and the key to this practice, and providing constant, I guess, trying to up your game constantly, continually getting better. No matter what you're doing in life, whether it's exercise or learning, providing patient care, making patients feel more comfortable. People will continue to come back and refer their friends if they have a unique experience. And so we try to provide the ultimate dental experience. And I feel like that's another thing that sets us apart is that ultimate dental experience.
Very cool.
Very good. Hey, maybe this one's for the team and Dr. Hardin. We want to know, we see the best teams, performers have a coach. Maybe one of the team members could answer the question, what is the value of having a coach that comes in from outside the practice? What do you see from having Tanya in the practice? What are you working on? What kind of things does that bring to your practice, having a coach?
So I would say that one of the best things about having a practice coach come in is that when you're in the office every day and you're working, the full schedules, it's easy to get caught up in the minutia of things and really start to evaluate the small details. And it's easy to pull away from focusing on the overall picture. I think every time that Tanya comes, she does a really good job of making us zoom out from our day-to-day activities and really revisit our goals, reformulate those goals if necessary, and to always make sure that we're not stagnant, because if you're not moving forward, then you're moving backwards.
Great answer. Very cool.
I would like to add to that. People ask, why do you still have a coach, right?
Right.
And why does Roger Federer have a coach? Why does Serena Williams have a coach? They have mental coaches, they have physical coaches, people that train them on their strokes, and then other people that are working on their mind and their mindset. And I think everyone needs a coach. I've never not had a coach, and now I've met Tanya, and this is going to be her next trip will be her 10th trip here to the practice. And I'm just blessed that I got to have her.
Thank you.
Nice.
Here's a specific one, and this is open for whoever wants to share how you do this. Dr. Hardin, when you were at Leadership Academy a few months ago, one of the things we talked about was your hygiene department and your amazingly low cancellation no-show rate, which is an issue all over the country. And I think you said to me, we have no cancellations in hygiene. Everybody shows up, which is really remarkable. I love the way you guys do it. Could you share how you're doing that? Because you do have an amazing show rate in hygiene. So how does that work?
Melissa's going to share the answer to that because she.
All right, Melissa, here we go. The
Schedule
star.
The star.
Yes.
When we do our confirmations for hygiene, we pre-collect their payment, their portion due. We always do a personal call as well, just to ensure that we speak with them and just to make sure that they're here.
All right. So
this all came about during COVID.
it was COVID learned. Yeah.
COVID learned. So not everything bad came out of COVID.
Yeah.
This is
That's a great one.
evolution is we began to call the patient and ask the COVID questionnaire, and we became a touchless practice. So we didn't want to take payments in the office. So we would take credit card payment over the phone. And now with Dental Intel, we're going to be sending payment links via text. So it's going to minimize our time because we are spending quite a bit of time on that still, but we have virtually zero cancellations. Yeah. And Melissa does keep a track of the patients that have repeatedly, we actually put a little star by their name. So Steve, if you have a star by my name, it means you've canceled on us last minute before.
That is not a gold star. That is
not a gold star. It's something we can all quickly pay attention to. It's, you're 3 stars and you're out. Like you don't get a hygiene, you go on same day status. You don't want to be on same day status.
If we have availability. So I love that. Such a simple thing. And that is just one more example of many, many about out of adversity can come some of the greatest opportunities. And you guys have moved forward, kept doing that, of doing the payment over the phone in advance. And it's dramatically impacted your show rate. So congratulations on keeping that moving forward.
Very
If I
cool.
could just add one more quick thing too, looking at numbers in so many practices, most practices I go to, their hygiene visit value tends to be at least $100 higher than their hourly value. And that's because they have holes in their schedule. And just right before we had this call or this conference, we were talking about their hygiene hourly and their hygiene visit value runs pretty much the same. They had 16 hygiene appointments yesterday morning when we started the day, and at the end of the day, 16 hygiene patients showed up.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
So
we
I thought you were gonna say 18 showed up.
I would
That'd be better, right?
Let's make that happen.
Those same day people.
Right.
But I would like to add also, the team is constantly looking at the schedule because we actually did have someone cancel at 9:30. Jill had a patient that needed a cleaning, so she flipped her into the hygiene schedule, did all the x-rays for the hygienist and had that patient teed up and ready to go for the hygienist for that 9:30 hole. So it is a lot of everyone working together at all times and knowing, hey, we'll Blue Note, hey, we have a hygiene hole at 12:30, someone help me. And that's why it's like all hands on deck.
Love it.
Right. yeah,
Nice.
that's right.
Okay, Tanya, are you ready for your Ask a Coach question for today?
Drum roll.
Okay, here we go. Here's the question.
Okay.
And this comes from a practice. It says, it seems like we're always chasing the patient portion after insurance is paid, even when they're in network or out of network, even when we estimate what their portion is in advance.
Mhm.
How do we prevent having to send out statements each month? Is there a better way?
Okay, so there's several answers to that question. The first one I would say is whatever you think insurance is going to pay, disregard that and assume it's going to be less
Point.
because they lie. No, but in all
Vanessa.
seriousness, so if you're making an estimate for insurance assignment of benefits back to the practice, you absolutely want to set your coverage tables up at least 10% lower. And there's some market variability here, but you want to definitely set your coverage tables up to estimate at least 10% lower. And if you know there's something dramatic that's either not covered or it's going to be significantly different, like for example, a composite with an amalgam downgrade, just go ahead and put in a substantially lower fee in the payment table. So that's step one is, quit overestimating what you think insurance is going to pay. Step two is set the patient up to expect that there could be a difference and use your automated credit card vaults to have a payment on file system so you're not chasing them. And the minute you post your insurance payment, if you're accepting assignment of the benefits in the practice, you immediately use your technology and send them a link for a payment for their patient portion, and then stay on top of sending regular billing statements. And then lastly, if you are identifying, and I think this is a huge piece to this, if you're a couple months out and they're coming in for another appointment, we got to make sure we get that balance taken care of and not miss that last piece that is owed.
And if Melissa's in charge, we know she's going to get it before they come in.
I have a suggestion. Collect in full and then write the patient if the check goes to them and we tell them their insurance works like a rebate, because what are they going to pay on a 3-surface composite or even a 2-surface composite? 60 bucks, 70 bucks. So why even worry about that gap? If you're an out-of-network provider, you should be collecting.
Yeah, out of network, that works great because the check's going to them anyway. So
Yep, you got it.
hey, thank you so much for letting us beam into your office, Dr. Hardin and whole team. Again, big fans. Congratulations on all of your success and everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Great day. Thank you, guys.
Nice.
Thank you. You guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Tanya. Nice. Very cool.
Solid.
Dang, it's crazy to hear when a doctor is tracking. She knew exactly how many times Tanya's been in that practice. Like, that's a neat.
She does.
She
She's,
10th visit.
Yeah.
I like
And,
that.
no, I guarantee you, she measures everything.
Man, right?
And that's one of the reasons they are so successful in what they do.
Hey, I'll have Spence introduce our next guest, resource partner guest, Next Health. Spence, you want to tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Stu. Next Health is a newer resource partner of the Crown Council. They are a patient experience platform. So they do overall online booking, patient booking, communication, appointment reminders, messaging the patient back and forth, gathering the patient's health records, overall time saver. And then to top it all off, generating reviews for the practice. So an overall patient experience. And today we have Lara Guevara from Next Health joining us. Lara, how's it going?
Going good. How are you doing, Spencer?
Doing great. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Hey, Lara, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me, you guys. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. You know, Lara, as we bring you on board here and talk about Next Health and some of the differences that sets Next Health apart from other communication platforms, share with us just a little bit about what sets Next Health apart from the others.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. I think a lot of practices right now are using multiple tools in order to accomplish what Next Health can do on its own. And so consolidation is a big part of that. We can do reminders, digital forms that write directly back into the patient engagement or patient management system, pardon. We do online booking, all that kind of stuff in one platform. So consolidation is a big part of that. And then as well as the level of integration with which we work alongside the patient management system. So not only can we read into the patient management system, but we can actually write directly into it as well.
That's great. Lara, there's 2 points there. Not only a time saver, but also a money saver. At the Crown Council annual event, we heard from many of our members that said, I am really looking to be able to integrate everything into one rather than paying for all of these add-ons, one to message my patient, one to do my scheduling, one for reminders, and to be able to have it consolidated, like you mentioned, is key.
Exactly. And to be able to not only pay for one, but work within one system. So for reminders, forms, reviews, online booking, all of those pieces that really help a practice run. It's truly like bringing on another receptionist, a receptionist who works 24/7, who never gets sick, and doesn't make mistakes, right? Things just become automated. I personally used to work in a medical office, and I cannot tell you how much time this would have saved. Time and headache, right? Which is important for the front office staff, and it's important for the bottom line at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Lara.
People
go
are
ahead.
booking at midnight when they can finally get it. When the college student can finally get around to getting there, they're like logging on at midnight to book the appointment. So
Totally. I know I'm not usually thinking about booking my dental appointments in the middle of my workday. I'm thinking about it, late at night or when I'm brushing my teeth or, whatever. And at those times of the day, there's no one sitting behind the desk waiting to take my call.
Nice. Hey, I know Lara shared this fun little video with us. It's 1:45. Let's play this and then we'll see. We have a couple more questions for you. Is that okay, Lara?
Yes, please. I would love that.
Okay. Can you guys see this handsome guy with his hair?
perfect.
It's all good. It's a good looking guy. Okay, here we go. I'm going to play this right off your website. Maybe.
There we go.
That's probably my fault. I've been on this page forever. Let me just reload it. Hey, it's a live stream. Oh, here we go. Okay, ready?
I need to see a dentist because my teeth. So I call the first one I can find.
Thank you for calling Alpine Health.
Okay.
Office hours are
Well, I'm definitely calling back tomorrow.
Alpine Health.
Hi, I'd like to.
Please hold. I need help running our office because with calls, paperwork, and scheduling, there aren't enough hours in the day. And my boss is always saying,
why don't we have more 5-star reviews? I'm really good.
I just want to book an appointment. Can I do that?
You can with NextHealth.
NextHealth?
NextHealth. It streamlines your entire patient journey from scheduling to recare so you can grow faster.
So it can help me book that appointment?
Yep, just click book online and away you go.
but our schedule's too...
Complicated?
Yes.
NextHealth lets you customize bookings based on your operatories, appointment types, and holidays.
But online scheduling never works.
It does with NextHealth. NextHealth reads and then syncs with your office calendar. So when a patient books here, it auto-populates here.
Lies.
No, it's true.
Okay, I just booked. Now what?
NextHealth automatically texts patients the forms they need to fill out before their appointment.
Great. So I'll have to type all these PDFs in by hand.
Nope. With NextHealth, everything your patient enters auto-populates in your health records, even when you're not around.
No.
And after each appointment, patients get a text to pay their bill and leave a Google review.
They made everything so easy. Be back soon. Smiley face emoji.
Oh, I like that.
And 6 months later, they get reminded to book again. So your practice's growth stays on autopilot. See it for yourself at nexthealth.com.
Oh, NextHealth.
Nice. I don't know about that team member. She might be fired later.
Very
cool.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think it's a good consolidated video to just kind of give an overview of what we do and how it's interacted, or how, each part of the process can be handled through NextHealth, from the patient all the way to post-care reminders.
Very cool. I just had a quick question, Laura. How does it integrate? Some of our doctors that are watching, I'm sure, want to know which practice management systems it works with, or how it integrates. Can you talk about that?
Totally.
Yeah.
Great question. We are always bringing in new integrations, but currently we cover about 80 to 85% of all patient management systems that dentists are using. So we integrate with Dentrix, Dentrix Ascend, Open Dental, EagleSoft, all the big ones, as well as some of the smaller ones. And we're constantly building out new integrations as well.
Nice.
If any of you have questions on whether we integrate, you can reach out to me or to, your Crown Council representative, and they'll have a list of which integrations we currently have, fully operating.
Nice. Spence, maybe we can talk about Dental Digital Marketing Conference real quick with Laura.
Absolutely. We are thrilled to have NextHealth at the DDMC, the Dental Digital Marketing Conference in Las Vegas, coming up in April. And we would love to see you come out and talk with NextHealth, see their presentation, as well as all of our other presentations and resource partners that we have going to the DDMC. So excited for the event. And thanks, NextHealth, for being a sponsor of the event.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Thanks for having us, and thank you for having me on today. It was a pleasure getting to talk with both of you.
Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Okay, have a great day. Thanks. Man. All right, dude, that was like that team member's best dream come true. Just not how do I integrate?
I don't have to do anything.
When she was whining about putting PDFs in, I'm like, dang, man, she's gonna be.
I don't think she's gonna be up for Crown Council Team Member of the Year.
Every time her face came on, I was like, ooh, she is not a happy team member. That's fun.
Imagine going to work. Not happening. Okay.
Hey, so special guest. I know he's watching live, so I hope he's ready. But if we could bring my dentist into the program, we're very grateful to have Dr. Chris Hammond joining us today. I have known Chris. Steve, we've probably known Chris for almost 20, 25 years. Super grateful to have him join us today. Where are you joining us from, Chris? Are you live from Maui or home?
We kind of have another snow day today, not as bad as yesterday.
Man, what a day. I was telling Steve whenever we get on, we got to talk about weather. He's in paradise and we're digging out from.
What's up with snow days in Utah? That never used
Crazy.
to happen.
I know we don't live in Florida. We're ready for this stuff. I still wonder why they shut everything down when we get the snow.
I agree. My daughter was told, well, the parking lot's not shoveled. I'm like, what would be the maximum distance you would have to walk in the snow had the parking lot like 100 yards? Like
That's
you'd
so
be.
true. Yeah.
Hey, so I've got an appointment March 15th. I'm coming down to see you. Can't wait.
Hey, when you're early, you're on time.
I will be there.
Maybe
Maybe
on March 14th.
I actually had it in my calendar for February, so I'm glad I double checked. Maybe I'll ride my bike down, Chris.
I'm ready for you.
Cool. Hey, well, I'm so grateful to have you on. Chris is not only one of my really good friends, but an all-star in the Crown Council membership, having won many awards, including Team of the Year, Best Doctor to Work For. He's constantly raising the most money for Smiles for Life, leading our humanitarian trips, and just an all-star in every way, Chris. So we're grateful to have you with us today to share some of the things that have made you and your team successful, and to ask you, are you open book today? Are we going to ask everything?
You can ask me whatever you want.
Yes. I'll leave that to Steve to ask all of
it. No, not Steve. I didn't say Steve. I said you. No, I'm
Very good. Hey, well, one thing that I'd love to start with is I know, well, at least this is the common idea, is Utah is very saturated with practices, dental practices. What separates Hammond Family Dental from the other practices in the Provo, Utah area?
You know, that question would be really easy to answer with a bunch of cliches, right? I mean, we focus on clinical quality. We focus on the patient experience. We don't take insurance. All of those things would be easy. But I honestly feel like the thing that I have focused on over the years that has accomplished the most is setting aside time to put into action the things that we learn. So I think aside from learning and going to CE and attending the annual event and attending the AACD, we all have lots of ideas we would like to implement into our practice. I think probably the easiest way to answer that question, and we can get more specific if you want, is that I've been obsessed over the last 20 years with setting aside systems and time and a team that will help me actually put into action what we learn and the ideas that we have. That's probably the main thing I would say if I were to try and answer that question. It's that one thing.
Steve, do we want to dig deeper?
And consummate learners you are, so specific on that, Chris. Can you share with everybody what your learning schedule is for your team? Because you guys are like diligent about this.
Yeah, so we set aside, and this is, I mean, there's just so much to talk about along this, but at the beginning of every year, we set aside at least one day, most of the time, 2 full days a month, where we can get together in our practice with our team of professional women that work with us and just focus on being better. So that sometimes is hard for a practice to do, to shut down and focus just on learning. And especially when they're in their own office, it's hard to kind of shut everything down and close the doors and set the phones on voicemail to just focus on non-patient activities. But I think that is one thing that I would never do without, is time with my team to work on our systems, to have people. It's interesting to have Dr. Harden on, because I worked with Tanya Bailey for 10 years myself. And that's another thing, is to have her in my office, to have her help us. Just time outside of the practice focused on development, culture development, implementation of ideas and cool things we want to do. There's this discussion that could go on. I mean, could go on forever with how excited I get about this kind of thing. But yeah, we spend 2 days a month just without our patients, just focusing on what we do best, and that is in development.
The funny thing about that, Chris, is almost every practice in dentistry has 2 days a month that they can do that. They just choose to use that time other ways.
Totally. Yeah, and I think it has to be organized too. I mean, you have to go into this experience. If you plan a day with your team, even if you just start with one day, it should be well thought out and well planned and organized, like you would your own professional meeting. And I actually think it's one of the most exciting things that we do, is to plan a full day in basically an idea implementation and things that we can do better.
Yeah, it's a great example. And you guys have done that for decades.
We
and have proven. I get asked a lot is, we can't afford to meet that much. And, our rule has always been that done right, your return on that time should be 3 times what you spend. So if you spend an hour together, you should get 3 hours of productivity back in return. If you're spending 2 days, then you're getting 6 days back in terms of increased return if you do it right.
Yeah, and I think if we pulled that out of our practice, we would see our results diminish significantly over time. And we would probably be hitting the panic button quick and trying to find more time away from patients to refocus and get back on the same page.
Well, and to put this in context, so that everybody's clear, what you've pulled off here is you're in one of the most densely populated dental markets in the country. Utah County, last time I looked at it, had 1 dentist for every 900 people. So there's no shortage.
I bet that's true.
And you guys are fee for service.
Yeah, we are. Yes, we're fee for service.
To be able to do the kind of production that you do with as many different options as there are and do it in a fee for service, you got to be good.
Yeah,
to be able to do that.
You have to be on your A game. You have to be different. Terrace talked about the patient experience. That has to be exceptional in both restorative and hygiene and consultations. The minute they call us, when they pick up the phone, when they walk in the door, it all has to be exceptional. And I think the only way to really pull that off is to always be honing, always be sharpening the saw, and always be working on things. Otherwise, it just diminishes over time. It's just that law of entropy that kicks in real quick.
Nice, Chris.
So go ahead, Stuart.
No, I was just going to do a quick follow-up about the annual event. I know that Chris has a really fun, interesting way when they all come to the annual event, his team attends, they come home. Can you share real quick? Because I think that's worth sharing with the rest of the group, what you do with the things you learn at the annual event.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want to find us at the annual event, you can always look on like one of the front 2 rows. Because when I was in dental school, I figured out that my grades went up significantly when I sat in the front row. So
yes, they do.
We always sit together and we always sit up front. And I think that alone sends a message to my team that we're here to learn. And one interesting exercise that I think you're getting at, Stuart, is my team knows that when we go home, they're going to be surprised and not really know what part of the annual event they're going to be responsible for bringing back to our team and helping us implement. So they're there to learn everything, realizing that we're going to spring on them and challenge them to help us implement one of those ideas. And they're not going to know ahead of time what that's going to be. So it creates kind of a fun atmosphere. And they go into it thinking, I better be on time. I better be there when the video starts at 8 o'clock. I better stay till the very end. And I better go to the breakfast on Saturday morning because I'm going to be responsible for this information and bring it back to the office.
Yeah, and I love the way you do that, which is you have the team represent all the topics when you get back to the office.
Yeah.
And they don't know until you get back which topic they're going to be responsible for. So that you learn more when you teach. And then I've added this Chris Hammond secret, which is you learn more when you teach and you don't know which part of it you're going to have to teach. So you learn all of it, which is
that's true.
It's brilliant. Not doing it till you get back. Okay. So, this morning, Chris, I was at Texas A&M School of Dentistry. I spoke to the D4 students, and I get the opportunity to work with both D3 and D4. And I'll just insert this little Crown Council culture plug. You've done, Chris, this amazing job of creating the right kind of culture. And one of the things that we've espoused always is when you're early, you're on time, right? And
right.
I know you guys do that in your practice. And if the morning meeting starts at 7:45, you got to be there at 7:40, 7:30, whatever it is. This morning, as an example of that, the first 5 minutes of this D4 class, an announcement was made that everyone that was in the room was going to receive a $2,500 scholarship.
Oh my gosh, really? Wow.
And the dean had made arrangements with a very generous donor. And so the guys that were late, they
What?
literally
Wow.
lost.
They didn't get it.
Wow.
This is a good story. This is a great
I was
story.
over in the corner just cheering. I'm like, this is awesome.
Oh,
And
wow.
they were just like blown away. So it was a donor that had donated and wanted every member of the D force. So I just have that little plug for culture.
Cool.
One of the things I talked to them about, this is what I call the last lecture, because it was the last time they were going to hear from me before they leave dental school. And so I went through the list of what really matters in their future. And one of the things I had on my list was mentors. And you're familiar with the quote that says, if I've seen further, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants.
Right.
And I think that applies to you.
It does.
And you want to share just a little bit about that? You've done and continue to do such an amazing job of seeking out great mentors. I mean, just I look at the people you associate with and the things that you teach them, but the things you've learned from them. You are a product of the people that you have chosen to associate with.
That is so true. In fact, Stuart, remind me, when I spoke to the Young Dentist program a while ago, I talked about this, and my history with the Crown Council goes all the way back to 1998. So I'm one of the, I hate to admit, the old timers, but the guys that have been around for a really long time, and I've learned.
You were very young in 1998.
I won the Young Dentist Award in 1998, so maybe that's a good plug. But I had learned back then the importance of mentors, and then once you find somebody in your life or a group of people that you want to be like, I think I'm a product of latching onto that and sticking with mentors for a long period of time too, because I've had people in my life associated with the Crown Council. So Steve, it's no surprise that you're one of my mentors. It's no surprise that Crown Council in general has mentored me, and all the people inside the program, the Crown Council organization, has mentored me. It's no surprise that I met David Hornbrook in 1995 when I was a junior in dental, or when I was just out of dental school, junior in dental school, actually. I graduated in 96, and I latched onto him and had become friends with him and allowed him to mentor me over the course of 28 years now, or 27 years now. And I think that it's so important early in your life to find where you want to go. And there's a lot of, I think the mistake I would have made would be to have changed courses multiple different times and kind of randomly picked a new mentor every year. I think I'm a product of finding someone that I want, that was where I wanted to be, and associating with them and copying genius over the course of 20 years. And it made my life so easy, or easier, because I didn't have to filter through a lot of the junk. I just got to have good direction in my life. And I think it boils down to Steve, Greg, Stuart, Dr. Hornbrook, my father. I mean, that's my list isn't super long, but they are people that I have stuck with for a long period of time that have made my life and challenges in my life. When I've had a significant challenge in my life, I immediately went to my mentors, and they were there for me. And it just made my life, kind of filled my life with more direction, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's amazing when you look back. I think when you're going through it at the moment, you may not realize the impact, but when you go back and look, I had dinner with Jim Thacker Saturday at the Hornbrook Aesthetics course, and he was reminiscing with me the decision that you and Roy made that changed everything, not just for your practice and your life, but changed the course of his life. And that was the decision that was made to take a different direction in the practice and do more cosmetic dentistry.
Yeah.
And that's when you all connected up with David at Pack Live at the time, and took the Utah Valley crew with you, because you guys wanted a wingman that was going to produce the work, and that changed the course of their whole lab. That business trajectory. And this is one of my favorite stories because it's a commitment story. But you guys buried your amalgamator.
Yes.
Buried it. I mean, you had a funeral service, buried it in the front of the office as a
We
commitment.
made a tombstone. Don't forget, we did make a tombstone.
And I think you know this, but I was informed Saturday that due to a flood at that building, that the amalgamator was exhumed.
Yeah, but I still have it. It's now in the wall of my existing building. So
It is.
I have moved from that office, but we went more with an indoor burial, and it's now in the wall of my existing office.
I love that.
It's got dirt on it, and my dad loves that it's there. But back in the day, back in the 1900s, I guess you could jokingly say, that was a significant
step.
Moment in our life where we bury the past and burn the boats and went forward.
Nice.
And I love that story, and I love the fact that you've carried that forward as part of your culture. I mean, culture is so much about the events that have happened in the past, the stories that we tell. And there's so much of that in your practice that you've carried forward that is just palpable everywhere you are in your practice. So love it.
Hey, Chris, you talked about mentors helping you through tough times. Recently, I know that you had a real tough time. We've been close back and forth as I see you, and maybe people in the Crown Council don't know the story. Would you be willing to share what happened to your eye in Alaska?
Why did I know you might ask me about this?
You don't.
Only because
you said open book.
You've all been an important part of that. Well, sure. I think it's important because one of the lessons I've learned in my life is you will never get out of this life with some kind of tragedy. And if you haven't had that already, some kind of major life-altering tragedy, and I honestly don't think I'm finished with those in my life. But I think the things that happen to me only prepare me for the future. But I think that's important to know. And I have learned that more than ever over the past few years, because in the summer of 2020, I went on my dream vacation to Alaska with my family, thinking that I was headed towards, a week of rest and relaxation to come back energized and ready to hit the office on Monday. And I actually, by the time that weekend was over, I didn't think I would ever be a dentist again, because I was involved in an accident, a really serious accident where I lost vision in my right eye permanently, my dominant eye. And it was a fishing accident. It was someone in our fishing party, not a member of my family, but someone in my fishing party that actually buried a really big ocean hook in my eye that was buried in my eye for a period of time. And I knew right off the bat that going home from Alaska, my life was going to be significantly different. I had no idea what was in store for me. My family was with me. We were all concerned about the future. And I went through this cleansing period of trying to figure out who I was going to be. And I could talk about this forever, but I have learned a ton about myself, those around me, my mentors, just what I'm made of. And I think overall it's made me a better person. And like I said, I could talk about that issue forever. But when you talk about mentors, can I keep going?
Yeah.
Because I'm long-winded on this. You cut me off.
No.
I think when you talk about mentors, that's the first thing I did when I came home. People want to know, what did you do when you came home? And like I said, I had no idea if I was going to be a dentist or not. And over the course of a year, I kind of figured that part out. But one of the first things I did was call and talk to my mentors. I mean, my father, Steve, multiple times. Steve and I joked at the annual event that I had phone calls with Steve in the basement with the lights off, talking to him, and he was just listening. And those moments with mentors and people that you have followed for your whole life are especially meaningful. I called Dr. Hornbrook, who's been a friend of mine for a long time. I talked to him because he had lost his thumb in an accident, and I knew that he had a story to tell. I tapped his brain, and the things that he said to me were really incredible words and things to think about. And it just, those moments just shaped my life forever. And now looking back, I know that, tragedies should really be shaping you, and you should be embracing those and letting them kind of cleanse you and move forward to be a better person, a better father, a better mentor to other people, And in my case, really a better dentist and a better leader in the practice, I think.
Wow. Any follow-up, Steve?
You can tell them what we talked about on the phone. I don't know if you remember, but I think I was just an absolute wreck, wondering what I was going to do. We talked about selling my practice. We talked about what was my practice going to be worth without me there. I mean, we talked about everything.
Yeah, we went through all the potential scenarios, and two things that I learned from that whole experience, Chris, is one, what we always talk about is it's a big part of the Crown Council culture. Your dad taught me this years ago with the example of the Yellowstone fire, that that principle of within every setback or failure, there's the seed of an equal or greater accomplishment.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to find the seed, but it's always there. And I think the other piece, it's just been a living example to me of that. And then the other is just the amazing resiliency of the human body. And you haven't talked about that much, but just how the body, I learned this with your dad the first time too, when we went down to Mexico, the first time I did humanitarian dentistry and I assisted him, and he showed me how a cavity, that one of the patients we were working on, a cavity had gone all the way down on the inside of that tooth, and then just stopped. It just naturally stopped and figured out a way to rewire itself or heal or whatever. There was literally no center to this tooth, but it was somehow still survived. And your dad stopped and he goes, I want you to look at that. He goes, the human body is amazing. Many times what it can figure out how to do, what it can do on its own. And you got rewired.
I did. I'll just add one more thing that I think is significantly important also, is I think I've learned because of this, that the people around me and the patients that I serve, my friends, they're really all going through their own tragedy or have been, whether or not it's visible on their face or not, that it's important to remember that people have stuff in their life and it's what makes them up. And it's important to get to know people, your patients, your employees, whether they're going through a divorce or whatever. I mean, it's that life is full of those things, and it does shape us and helps us become who we are, and also affects who we are to some degree. And there's a lot to learn there.
Yeah, there's a lot. Thank you for sharing that.
Chris?
I know that's not easy for
Yeah,
you.
I could go on forever about that issue.
So many lessons learned and a great example. So thank you.
Very good. Hey, Chris, final question, unless Steve's got something special in his back pocket. We always ask if you were going to talk to young Chris, 1995, in your time machine DeLorean, and you pull up to dental school and give him some advice. What are you saying to young Chris, a young doctor now that you know? What advice are you sharing?
I would just summarize what we've talked about for the last hour with Dr. Hardin, and also the questions you guys have asked me. I mean, copying genius rather than creating your own mediocrity is way easier and less stressful. Find mentors, find people that you want to work around that can capture your dream. And if they're not those people, then move on and find people that will. Practice and do the things that you want and you love, and just from the very beginning, focus on building the practice of your dreams, so that, and enjoy the journey too. I mean, when we talk to young dentists at our courses, or when I've come and met with the young dentist program, they're all in a panic that they haven't already arrived and established their dream practice already. I actually think that if I were to go back, I would just remind myself to enjoy the journey. The very first days, the process of implementing one idea after another is just as enjoyable as the end result. And I just think the whole thing is just a blast if you look at it that way.
So true.
Nice.
Thank you for that.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep. Thank you, you guys.
Oh, you're the best. The funny part, me and Steve are going to come work in your practice. That's the big reveal at the end. We're coming.
Well, Tanya Bailey's coming. That's the second best That's the second best thing. So she's on her way here. So I'm one of her biggest fans also. So it was fun to see her.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks to everybody
You guys
for
enjoy your
joining us.
day.
Thank you. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Man, we should do a full episode on that eyeball.
Yeah, we should. That was crazy. What a fun hour.
We did good.
Class from Cincinnati to Salt Lake to, man, so many amazing gems there. Very cool.
It went quick. That was a really fun. And I had forgotten we had him on as one of the mentors on our Crown Council Young Dentist podcast. So we created a series of it was 12 episodes of doctors sharing what they did when they started their practice and how they went from dental school to either buying a practice or building. That was over a year ago. We talked to him about that.
Yeah, it was. In fact, I presented that this morning. So to all the dental students, they get an opportunity to tap into each of those 12 different young dentists that we did. So it's a great learning opportunity.
All right. Good week, good hour. We did good. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Steve. Anything else?
I think we're good. I think, one last announcement. We have a special episode coming up next month that we just announced this week. So on, let's see, which day is this?
16th, March 16th.
March, we're going to do one of our favorite, most popular topics. We talked about a little bit today, stop cancellations, how to maintain, build a productive schedule. So we're going to go through the entire top stop cancellation system. That'll be on the 16th of March. At this same hour. So it's going to be an hour packed with scheduling content. So that would be one great for the whole team. So bring them all and we will put a stop to the craziness in the schedule and get everything back consistent. COVID did a number on dental schedules and still we have the residual effect. Man, it continues on. So
nice. All righty. Thank you, sir. It's good to be with you. Thanks, everybody. See ya.